Welcome to the Upfront podcast, where we continue with the political discourse in the country. But before we get things rolling, remember the Upfront podcast has been shot right here at CH Studios, located at Almont Park, right on Church Road in Westlands. For all your videography and photography needs, you can call the number 0722 1111 885. The number is 0722 1111 885. Now, this morning, we continue with the discourse, basically touching on matters pertaining to party politics in the country. Of course, we look at issues pertaining to the broad-based government as well as the united opposition. I'm joined by none other than ODOYO OWIDI, who's a political analyst as well as a governance analyst. ODOYO, thank you for making time for us. Let's just get into this, but as we begin, let's begin from a general perspective. I know the party that is being talked about a lot is ODM. Would you say it's safe to say that this is a party that is on its deathbed?
I think to say that ODM is on its deathbed is repeating what people already know. If you look at history, when you analyze an issue, you use facts, figures, and logic on the table.
Mhm.
Then you use experience. Then you lace it with history. And then you know what is happening. Number one, there is no political party that has ever survived its overbearing leader. And number two, at the death of the patriarch, always there's feud. Even what you see going on in ODM right now, the one that is more pronounced, has nothing to do with the political party ODM. It has everything to do with the Jaramogi family. Normally, when people live in a home, you will find your brothers really love your wife and so on. But when you die, the story changes overnight. They begin to think they would rather own this or that their brother used to own. They no longer see you as the closest to the brother. They begin to see you as some other visitors who came to visit the brother. But that is not all. Even the very, very spouses of relatives who die also begin to reject the relatives of the brother. So what is happening now? If you look at it very carefully and look at the political players actually mobilizing on both sides of the political divide, you find that they are members of the Jaramogi family, together with their supporters and support base. In fact, the other day, I was telling another media house that, the battle that is currently going on ODM is raging on from Siaya at a place called the Greater Bondo that includes probably Rarieda. That is where the battle is. When they sort themselves out and finish off, they can come back and tell us what they want us to proceed doing. But I also must tell you, if you did not know, that before Raila Odinga died, there are certain people who are key in the party who had already decided that they are getting out of it. And one such person that I've always said is Edwin Sifuna.
Yeah.
Edwin Sifuna, Osotsi, Caleb Hamisi, they were long gone before Raila Odinga even died. Those are people who were so loyal to Raila Odinga that they would never oppose Raila Odinga even in their dream. They would wake up and discard that dream if they discovered they were doing that. But you noted that while we were in Kakamega, Edwin Sifuna told Raila Odinga to his face that if he's going to cooperate with the government of President William Ruto, he should be counted out. Caleb Amisi, one of the greatest loyalists from Western Kenya, kept on saying that ayuko kwa hiyo broad-based. Osotsi also like that. So it is very clear, even if people don't want it to be said, that majority of the Oliad leadership from Western province are gone, including Oparanya. Don't be cheated. Oparanya is just holding on because he's in government. That's why. But he's not in this thing.
Well, you've mentioned these loyal characters, the likes of Edwin Sifuna, Caleb Amisi, and Anthony Kibagendi. They were loyal to Raila Odinga and to the bone. But before Baba's demise, he was very clear where he stood, and that was with the broad-based government. Is it not doublespeak that these guys are telling us they're not going to do or move with ODM into the broad-based arrangement, and yet Baba himself, before his demise, that's where he left people. Is it not a lie?
And let me also open your mind to something very little.
Yeah.
They are rejecting the broad-based, but they are not telling us where they are going. Elections is not like an exam. When you are going for an election,
Yeah.
you are going to a competition. When you are going to an exam, you are going to a performance. You are going to perform and achieve your marks. It doesn't matter if anybody also achieves the same marks. Everybody can pass and everybody can fail. But when you are going to an election, only one person will win, the rest can fail. So if you are going to an electoral issue, you cannot reject Kimani if you don't have a better Mwangi.
Yeah.
That is how it is. So if you are coming to tell us that you are rejecting President William Ruto, fine, you are right, and it is your observation that you do so. But who is the alternative who do not have the same mistakes he has? In this country, you find we have parents who would see their son or daughter walk into the compound with a spouse. Even before the spouse opens his or her mouth to talk, they have already decided that he's a bad character or a good one.
Yeah.
Yet politicians, they are unable to tell, even ones they have stayed with for 30 years. Even this very President William Ruto that people now purport to reject has been with us here since 1991, not even two. He's been in politics.
Yeah.
In 1992, they began what they used to call Kanu Youth 92.
Yeah.
So he's been with us all along. And we went electing him in happiness, with euphoria. Does it mean we did not, in 30 plus years, evaluate him correctly? No. We evaluated him correctly. He was the right man. It only happens that somebody has now appeared who is convincing us that he's a madman, is not a good man. And that person has induced us well enough to believe him. You know, politics and religion are sold using same three principles, same three key pillars. Pillar number one is the Messiah driving the political agenda or the religious agenda.
Yeah.
In Christianity, Jesus drove that agenda. In Islam, you know who drove it. In politics, individual political player, individual political leader drives it as the Messiah. In ODM, the Messiah was Raila Odinga. Pillar number two is the scapegoat. We call it the boogeyman. The one that is scarecrow, that is used to scare you into following the Messiah. In religion, it is Satan, whether you are in Islam, whether you are in what. In politics, many times they choose the government of the day. Why? Because it is the person in the field that can be seen with mistakes. Because the boogeyman, the scarecrow, must be something that is powerful that you cannot handle on your own, the same way you cannot handle Satan on your own. Number three is the primary goal, the paradise you want to go to. In Christianity, you know about it. In Islam, they even promise you 12 virgin women and many other things that you will get at the end of the journey. In politics like this one, form the government and get the goodies in it. And those three pillars in each of those jargon, if anyone collapses, the whole thing crumbles. So today, people are good until we make them president, then we start thinking or seeing that they are bad. And that idea of they are bad or good is being sold by their opponents who wants to remove them from that seat.
Well, you've mentioned an interesting thing, and you've said Sifuna himself, he's telling us William Ruto is not good for this country, but he's not showing us the option.
The option.
Let's talk about, actually, my next question has two facets to it. Now, he's not telling us the option, and of course, also he's been accused that he's a mole for retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. Do you think this is the case?
I'm sure, very certain, that Sifuna and his group have been very well induced very well facilitated to play the game they are playing. In fact,
by who?
They had left ODM in their hearts, but their body remains there to destroy it. Because those political opponents of the president know that an equivocal merger between the president's support and ODM support is a sure bet, like it was in 2007. That is why you find Kalonzo Musyoka, the possible replacement for President William Ruto, went to bond with 100 set of cattle when the funeral was long gone. Donation to funerals is done so that the guests eat. You are not going to make somebody who was not keeping cattle a cattle keeper because the husband has suddenly died. What was 100 head of cattle going to do in Bondo?
They had visitors and guests coming and streaming all through, even after Baba's demise. They're still streaming in today.
That's why I call that laughable. Because the number of people who even have gone there since that day that Kalonzo took the cattle there, cannot even eat a whole bull. There are 100 people, there are 20 people brought in, and you cannot even slaughter a bull for them because they come intermittently on different day, unless you have giant freezers to keep the meat. So the only time we people of Western Kenya receive cattle is when you are coming to marry our daughter, not when you're coming to mourn somebody who has already buried.
So what?
Or you bring it early so that our guests are taken care of. The reason why Kalonzo was doing that, Kalonzo has studied the Luo and know they love extremely large things. So he knew the 100 heads of cattle would make news. Would be something to cheer because the Luo are largely sentimental people. That is what he wanted. But actually, it took problems to that home. Because when you wake up one morning and you discovered from 5 heads of cattle, you are suddenly 100 head of cattle owner, you need to make a new place to keep them, somebody to take care of them. And when somebody brings for you adult cattle, he's bringing for you a problem because you will be feeding them and they don't increase in size.
Okay, back to what you said, because I'm still trying to understand. You've said, or you've alluded to the fact that Edwin Sifuna and his camp are very well financed by a certain character.
Very.
So who's this character? Because there are only 2 characters in question. We have retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, and we have the former DP Rigathi Gachagua.
This is something that I have not said in this podcast. Now that I'm here, I will tell you. President William Ruto has only one serious opponent, and then the other half. The serious opponent that President William Ruto has is one Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And I'm going to tell you the reason. The other half is Rigathi Gachagua. Uhuru's problem with President William Ruto is based on 3 things. Number 1 is a legacy issue. Uhuru Kenyatta cannot withstand the fact that at the end of President William Ruto's 10 years, it will be found that President William Ruto built the profound Bomas International Convention Center, which will not be surpassed by any other country in Eastern Central Africa. At the end of it, Talanta Stadium will be standing. Just 3 years after President William Ruto got into office. Uhuru was there for 10 years. Uhuru cannot understand how President William Ruto wants to do the Rironi Mau Summit Road, a profound development project that will open Western Kenya to ease of doing business, something he refused to do. In fact, Uhuru is accused of building SGR from Mombasa straight to his farm in Naivasha and not taking it even to Nakuru or Kisumu. And then now you come resisting the Rironi Mau Summit. And those people in west of the Rift Valley Kenyans.
Who said he resisted?
Uhuru is the one behind all these things.
That's what I'm saying. Who said we don't have data to ascertain that he resisted that road? Maybe there were circumstances and logistical issues that...
I first of all, when I tell you that these people talking against this road are working for him, then he's simply using proxies. In fact, it is very painful that you read that the 3 people who purported to be Kenya Motorists Association who went to court are all people who come from his clan, and they use the well-done Thika superhighway, which they didn't oppose. They also use the first long-distance dual carriageway, the first, which is the Kenol Marwanyeri Road, the first long. And they never opposed it. They are comfortable with it. It's a good thing. But when we are doing the Rironi Mau Summit, they are protesting, even going to court. And
we have two things. You said there were three issues that retired president has with William Ruto. You've talked of legacy. What are the two?
Number two is resources.
Okay.
Let me tell you, when giant projects are done, it is common knowledge that people who are controlling them make a lot of money from them. It is known, believed, that the Uhuru regime made a lot of money in the SGR. How did they make it? Have you asked yourself why the SGR was not built on the old meter gauge railway? Have you asked yourself that question? And the very reason why railway reserve was made very large and wide was because in the future, we would rebuild it on the same path without having to compensate people for land. Because they wanted their land to be used and compensated exorbitantly. Did you know that more than a quarter of the railway stations that were built is built on one man's land? Did you know that after Nairobi, 90% of the land the SGR has run on is Uhuru Kenyatta's land? The round one, when you read Mahiu towards Narok, you can see it is fenced on both sides by the National Youth Service.
All this is still there. It's not been sort of interfered.
So they got a lot of money from land compensation and from the inflated cost of the railway yard. So they can't stand seeing somebody else doing projects that can make them make the kind of monies they made that make them control Kenya and Kenyans.
Okay.
Number three. Ukabila.
Do you genuinely think that is?
I don't think, because I give you reasons. Let me tell you how things are done. When Kenyatta 1 was the president, the first dual carriageway was built from Nairobi towards Thika. When in actual sense, it should have been built towards either Nakuru or Mombasa. When President Mwai Kibaki came to power, the first superhighway was also built again towards Thika. Right? When Uhuru Kenyatta came to power, the first long-distance highway was again built towards Nyeri, and it is a beautiful road. When people are going for Christmas, they were cruising at 120. When those going to Western Kenya were singing on the roadside as the buses waited in the traffic. And that is not all. I want to tell you what people get when infrastructure is developed.
Okay.
And I want to use the 3 bypasses for Nairobi. Bypass number 1 is the Eastern Bypass. Beginning from Embakasi, Utawala, Ruai, up to Ruiru. First, you notice that since that bypass was developed, Utawala has become a city, Ruai has become a city, and so is Ruiru. And there is also a choice for how far it is from the city center, wide out to the largely undeveloped area. Similarly for the Northern Bypass with the Ruaka, Kahawa, and Turuiru. But look at the the Southern Bypass. Southern Bypass is passing right here in Langata, and it is not even beginning in Athi River where it ought to have begun. It is beginning here at Airtel, Eka Hotel.
Are there not reasons for you to do it?
I will tell you where there is no reason.
How many warehouses do we have? How many godowns do we have there?
The length was decided and the money was there. But what did they want? They wanted it to be longer in the county of Kiambu, which begins immediately after Karen.
ODOYO, there could be. I'm not refuting that there's no truth in.
Of course, the difference between me and you is yours there could. but mine is sure.
Sure thing. That's what I'm saying. I always leave room for that benefit of doubt. So there could be some truth to the assertions that you're making. But let's look at the fact that when these roads and these bypasses, when these projects are being built, Ukabila, as you've said, is put aside. That tribalism is put aside. Do you want to tell Kenyans that there's no sort of economical thought process that goes behind? Because in itself, when you look at these roads, it connects companies, people, major roads, fastens business. So is it a problem because it's in that region where
let me tell you, it is not that they don't have economic value. It is the choice of where they are being built.
And you think
it is the choice of their length.
And you think this is the reason President Uhuru Kenyatta has...
It is because you are going... Let me tell you. What we have in this country is called political competition and economic competition between communities. I know you have, all this year, you have never asked yourself why we have Lake Victoria in Western Kenya, bordering Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and Congo, yet Kenya has no navy in the west of the Rift Valley. How do you explain that? Why would we even have an airport in Nanyuki and not a navy in Kisumu? Why?
And you think all this is calculated?
I don't think I know.
You know all this is calculated intentionally?
Do you know, as
the Western region?
Do you know, as we sit here, there is a constituent University of Nairobi in Kisumu, built on land donated by the British Council, who gave away their British Council library. And they said, do not demolish the library, build this thing on top of the library, because a university is a great thing. That university has laboratories filled with computers, lecture halls filled with chairs, and offices for lecturers. But students have never been admitted there. So, my brother, the greatest development come where there is infrastructure. When you choose to put infrastructure in your areas and leave others and run to court because it is being done going to other places, that is the height of discrimination any country can ever have. And you know, the business that makes a region grow can never be delivered by airports and airplanes. It can only be delivered by buses and trains.
All right. Okay.
Because that is what carries bulk of economic goods.
Okay. Fair point. Well, we'll leave it at that for that. But we continue.
Don't forget the three things why
legacy,
Uhuru,
resources, and tribalism.
Okay.
Well, as you've heard there to the viewers, those are the reasons ODOYO believes what is probably motivating President Uhuru Kenyatta to finance people that are against President William Ruto's regime, the likes of Edwin Sifuna and
before you go very far,
that
is squarely on Uhuru's table, not on the Kikuyu table. The ordinary Kikuyu is largely not caring about which tribe is where.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, still on the issues we're talking about on party politics, still on ODM, there seems to be a lot that is going on in the party. There's self-interest, there's a lot of issues, but the main bone of contention right there is leadership. And when you look at the leadership that is currently being contested, it's Uhuru Odinga. ODOYO, it's not rocket science. From face value, Uhuru can't do this job. He doesn't inspire the masses. That's what people say. And that is why you're finding the young people in the party saying, it's our time. Why do you think it's so hard for the leadership in ODM to come to this realization?
Uhuru's problem is not that he's too old to lead. Uhuru's problem is that he's supporting broad-based. That he's supporting re-election of President William Ruto. All those people who are fighting Uhuru are not idiots. They are very brilliant people. And they know with Uhuru's age, the farthest it can go is being the ODM party leader, not even vying for the presidency. And they can do with him as long as he lives. So anybody fighting Uhuru is not fighting Uhuru because he's too old to lead. In any case, he's wiser than all of them put together in a pot. They are fighting Uhuru because Uhuru is supporting broad-based, period. If Uhuru was too old to lead, Raila was older to lead. Not that he's older than Uhuru, but he was weaker. While Raila and Uhuru were living in this earth as human beings, Raila looked more sickly, though louder. And they never challenged him. Why are they now challenging Uhuru? Because Uhuru is supporting broad-based, period.
All right. When you talk about this leadership issue in ODM, one name, of course, is constant. It's Owino. He feels it's his time. And I want to make reference to a statement that he made just recently. There is a storm in ODM, and the storm requires people to come together. There must be an NDC to resolve it. ODM should be handed over with immediate effect. And we are already looking at the party leader, meaning that's him. Do you think Babu Owino is the man to revitalize this party?
Whatever Babu Owino said is political statement meant for certain sections of society, meant for the youth to take in. That and that is how politics played. So Babu Owino,
do you think he's the man to revitalize this party and bring it back to its start?
I don't think ODM as a political party has any use to any Kenyans now going forward. What are Kenyans going to benefit from ODM? A political party doesn't even take money or capital to start. You can take a new one and move on. So the fight in ODM is simply the fight to sway the Luo vote one direction or the other. There is no political party that, as I told you in the beginning, that has survived the death of its overbearing leadership.
That doesn't mean it can't happen. That doesn't mean it can't happen.
I've told you.
Does it mean it can't happen?
It won't happen. You are talking of can't. It won't happen. ODM is not going to survive the death of Raila Odinga. One other reason why people are even fighting for it, because it still receives a lot of money from political parties funding and from contribution from elected leaders. And to an extent, there are certain people who still believe and worship ODM. But otherwise, there is no good reason. Any politician who is worth his salt, any politician whose hands wasn't held by Baba, any politicians who can go on his own would fight for ODM. Why would you fight for ODM?
Let's shift the dynamics here a bit and say we were in an ideal democracy. These people sit down and sort themselves out, and especially the elderly people in the party say, you know what? It's time for you young guys to lead. And we bring in these young, vibrant leaders who have actually been vouching against President William Ruto. Just hold on a minute and give them the party. Do you want to tell me ODM will still be the same party? If given the party to these young people who are fresh, vibrant, and are relating with the masses?
You say that ODM looks like it is one giant company that is bringing revenue and profits to people that needs to be saved. Why would you be saving ODM? What is so special about ODM that would not be so special in a political party that arrives in the registration board today? This is a party that has been with us here since 2005.
Is that not a reason?
Wait, since 2005 to date.
Is that not a valid reason? It's been there all this time.
My sentence is not complete.
Yes.
It has been with us here to date. But there is nothing out of the ordinary you can say about it. This is a political party who talks about democracy but is not democratic. The very last elections, ODM as a political party never held any reasonable, meaningful nomination exercise to democracy within itself. This is a political party whose party leader would handpick its leadership. Forget about elections. Its leadership. Who elected Sifuna? Who elected Mbadi? Who elected the so-called deputy party leaders? Nobody. So this is a political party that has been a problem to democracy. This is a political party.
We adapt that somebody would argue as that to be a lie.
Why is it a lie? And I've told you why.
Or you want to tell Kenyans that ODM as a party hasn't contributed to anything that is significant to this country in terms of governance? Is that what you're trying to tell Kenyans?
Of course, what it is doing because it is the one that exists with many people in it. And I do not think there is anything that they did that changed the course of governance drastically that any other political party would not do. If ODM wasn't there,
Yeah.
I am telling you, the political party that would have been there probably would have done better than ODM did.
Let's take a good example. Of course, and one thing that Baba is known for is the fight for this constitution that we are enjoying today. Let's say he wasn't genuinely fighting for that cause, of course, surrounded with the partners that he was partnered with back then. Do you genuinely think we had leaders at that particular point in time with the muscle to do the same?
Allan, I want you to be able to distinguish between Raila Amolo Odinga and ODM as a political party.
Yeah.
That man you say fought for democracy and devolution and everything else is Raila Amolo Odinga, who is dead and buried.
Okay.
Why are we keeping this ODM?
So you believe it should die with him?
And let me tell you,
Yeah.
ODM had become a collusive organization.
Yeah.
Where people who made themselves owners of ODM than others were bound to get whatever they wanted in the party when they wanted it, without considering that democracy is necessary in a political party like ODM. You remember in the last general election, the governor of Homa Bay got her nomination papers well before even the nomination exercise began. Not that she was the better candidate. That being a better candidate was supposed to have been decided by the people of Homa Bay.
But she won.
No other governor
Yeah.
in Lowland went through a nomination exercise. You are saying she won?
Yeah.
She didn't win the ODM ticket. She got it. And the reason why she got it without contest is because they knew she would not win it in a contest. If they knew she would win it in a contest, they would not have bothered to give it to her directly.
ODOYO, let's put this into context.
Yes.
Say you're a party leader, because at times we get lost in this noise that a lot of people talk about outside here. Let's say you're a party leader and you've done your assessment. You're an experienced politician. You've done your assessment and you know very well that candidate A, yes, he could be popular due to one reason or the other, but candidate B is what is going to deliver this victory for us. Will you not be candidate B? Let's be very truthful.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Being truthful is a good thing.
Yes.
The same people who are to vote for Gladys Wanga during the nomination are the ones who are going to vote for her during the general election. If you are, as a party leader, have known these people like Wanga, why do you stop them from voting for Wanga during the nomination? This is the same people.
Yeah.
Same people.
Yeah.
Why don't you give them the opportunity to vote for her during the nomination? Why do you want to give it free to her during nomination and then let her go and fight during the general election? Because during the general election, now people vote for party in that part of the world.
Yeah.
So Gladys Wanga was simply favored by the party, which is a problem to democracy.
Speaking of democracy, there's one word that has been in people's mouth, especially when you're talking about ODM, it's NDC. People are saying, call that NDC. We've had Owino already saying that there could be some information arising that they're now trying to fix delegates into a list, probably just trying to sway them towards the side that is not seeing eye to eye with the likes of Owino. When you know and you've spoken about ODM's history, do you even think it's necessary for Owino to call for an NDC?
I think Owino is playing politics. He's my very good friend. I know what he's doing. He's playing politics.
Yeah.
The moment you start thinking about NDC, you will hear, oh, this person should not be a member of this. And the people who will be claiming that the list has been tampered with do not even have one that is not tampered. It reminds me of Raila Odinga going to court that President William Ruto had stolen his votes, but he did not have the figures.
Okay.
You see, when you come that I have got 9 million votes fraudulently, and you are the winner, you should have told us you are the winner with how many? Raila Odinga did not have it. There are people who will go to court saying, oh, the list have been tampered, when they don't have the correct list, but they are saying the one that is there is wrong. You've stolen my votes, but you don't have the number that you're supposed to have. So let's just be fair that when we play politics, let's use facts, figures, and logic. We don't need to go. You know, political analysis in Kenya has become non-objective because people analyze politics depending on who they support and who probably even pays them. So let us just be free and fair. Even if the party leadership of ODM were to change, I think to want to change it now is not correct.
Okay.
Yes. To want to change it, we need stability post-Raila so that we change it. Because even if it is changed or not changed, nothing much would change in the political party ODM.
Okay. There's a voice, a very calm and silent voice that people don't talk a lot about. But when you hear things that are spoken behind the tent, many believe that the voice carries a lot of weight. And this is the voice of Mama Ida Odinga. What would you say or answer to people that say the influence her voice came with died the day we laid Raila Amolo Odinga to rest?
Let me tell you that it is not possible to erase belief and loyalty from a person just because the person they were loyal to and believed in has just died.
Okay.
It takes time.
Yeah.
If Mama Ida Odinga's influence was borrowed from Raila Odinga, it will be there for some time, albeit in low quantities. Even this man called Uhuru, they were fighting.
Yeah.
Now, when Raila Odinga was alive, they would not dare fight him.
Yeah.
So as time goes, this thing slows down. But one thing that I must tell you again and again until it goes home, the kind of protests against what is happening in ODM now, the anti-broad-based, has been influenced and paid for.
Yeah.
Because these people who are doing it have a political base that the current president has removed from neglect and oblivion into the mainstream Kenyan.
Yeah.
For the very first time, there's an island in the county of Homa Bay that is going to see a road and a car for the very first time, moving within their communities.
Yeah.
There are large areas that are going to see tarmacked roads for the very first time. The town of Homa Bay has seen a dual way in the town for the very first time. The airport in that town has been extended to handle larger airports and safely. A port is being built in Homa Bay. It's already complete, sort of a port, a pier.
Yeah.
But remember, during Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, they told us they are renovating the port of Kisumu at a cost of 3 billion. And they swept hectares and hectares of land, housing people's businessmen to the ground, that they were reviving the port. As soon as those businesses were down on the ground and they subdivided the land, they walked away without renovating the port of Kisumu. This is the same man who has returned to fight a government that is now renovating that port. Let us be fair. The only problem we have in this country and everywhere else in the world, he who speaks more and loudest is believed. So it is the speaking, it is the many people who have been poured out to speak against President William Ruto that has made Kenyans believe he's actually the wrong one. But when you put them on the table and say, let's compare apples to apples, then you come back and sit down and wonder. I sat here for very few minutes and I told you the earth-shaking projects President William Ruto is undertaking. But they always find something negative to say about them. They always want to say, oh, they are too expensive, or there is corruption. All those things were said about those other presidents, but they were not loud enough. So if you want to control and defeat your enemy in politics, hire very many people to talk negatively about them.
Okay.
Until people believe what they are saying, because a lie repeated multiple times appears as the truth. And you know, Kenyans always follow their tribal kingpins. And if you have a tribe that is so big and their kingpin decides to use them against somebody else, it that is the trouble President William Ruto is going against now.
Well, just before we get to that, as we sort of wind down on this ODM debacle, Ida Odinga seems to hold Edwin Sifuna in such high regard. Even when they went to visit her during the birthday for Raila Malo Odinga, just to remember him, I'm sure you saw the video on social media where he literally greeted every other person but hugged Edwin Sifuna. If you read into that picture, you know there's a deeper sort of relationship between the two. That's the social media people reading. But I'm just trying to look at it at a bigger picture, and even the likes of her daughter, Winnie Odinga, how they're speaking against these people, and they're saying this is not where we want to take ODM as a party. What are the chances that come 2027, ODM is not in this broad-based government?
Let me tell you something. Winnie Odinga and Ida Odinga are not officials of ODM.
Yes.
But they have influence.
Yeah.
But let's also say this. I think they are reading from the script book left by Raila Odinga.
Okay.
Raila Odinga is this person who would lose an election and would use all means available, both physical and oral violence against the sitting president until he is blackmailed and brings him into government.
Mm-hmm.
What Winnie and the mother are doing is trying to blackmail President William Ruto to probably bring them not only into government, but do for them something.
Okay.
You cannot today tell me that suddenly there is somebody out there that Winnie Odinga and Ida Odinga believe in, and they are not even telling us who it is. Who is this that they think is better than President William Ruto?
Do you think maybe it's time?
They need to come out and tell us, because even this idea of people like Orengo, Otiende Amolo telling us, oh, you don't just agree like that, we must negotiate and agree. What are you, Ruto has the presidency with him now.
Yeah.
What are you bringing on the table? Because the voting will take place in 2027.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even know how many votes you can bring. And you have no way of proving the number of votes you'll bring.
Yeah.
This thing is a case of, I accept to support you. One day when you get this thing, it becomes ours and we share it. And I think President William Ruto has demonstrated to them that when he takes power, he never forgets those who help him to take power.
Yeah.
So these people telling, especially the Luo, that, oh, you can't agree with President William Ruto just like that without negotiation and haggling. Let me tell them, you can only negotiate with the votes after the voting has taken place. Like Rigathi was telling President William Ruto, my people gave you this number of votes.
Yes.
And you came with this, so we want this. But people who want to negotiate, and they cannot even guarantee anybody votes. Themselves, they really struggle to win those seats they are holding. Orengo really struggled. Otiende really struggled. And they struggled with Raila standing behind them. Now, even without Raila, what negotiations are they talking about? They are incapable of negotiating with anyone on behalf of the Luo. They are incapable.
Do you think President William Ruto wins 2027 without Luo Nyanza?
Luo Nyanza will not walk out of President William Ruto. Forget it.
Do you think he stands a chance without Luo Nyanza? Does he win without that Western Kenya bloc?
President William Ruto will win, but with that Western Kenya bloc, because that Western Kenya bloc is going nowhere. Why it is not going nowhere?
Mm-hmm.
Even these people who are trying to push them away from President William Ruto know very well that the day they mention who is their candidate, job is done.
So it means without that vote,
yes,
he doesn't win. Without the vote, he doesn't win the election.
You know, when you are watching football, you will find so many mistakes with the best player in the field.
Yeah.
So many mistakes.
Yeah.
Simply because you are off the pitch and he is on the pitch, it means it is only him who can make mistakes. The moment you are thrown into that pitch, you will make mistakes from your first contact with the ball to the last one. And the people will know the other guy was a better player. People still think President William Ruto is not a good player because they haven't thrown anybody into the field. We have people who are saying, we have even people like Kalonzo who are saying, that that Singapore thing is a Singapore or whatever he's trying to call them. Very old, outdated ways of referring to things. But if it was a better option, he should have told us what yardstick, what benchmark he wants to put for Kenya. Ruto has put Singapore as a benchmark. Him, what is his benchmark? Let Kalonzo tell us his benchmark today, and we'll tell him is he fit to be president or not. If he thinks building the Rironi Mau Summit is wrong, let him tell us what he would rather do. If he thinks the way Ruto is doing things is wrong, let him tell us how he would do them if he was president.
ODOYO, let's talk about this united opposition. As we wind down on the conversation, we're looking at one character who seems to be a very big headache for William Ruto. Of course, he cannot publicly admit it, but this is Rigathi Gachagua. He's constantly been driving a narrative against President William Ruto. Whether it's working or not, as always said, time will tell. But he loses this big chunk of the vote that got him to power. We currently don't see a formidable candidate from the Mount Kenya region. Not that they're not going to come up with one, but we still do not see it. Of what impact is it going to do to William Ruto's campaign losing this block?
I think going forward, Rigathi Gachagua continued participation in Kenyan politics can only help President William Ruto to return to power.
Okay.
Because there is nothing as a motive as tribalism in this country. The moment Kenyans notice a tribal angle to the way Rigathi Gachagua is talking, they are only waiting for the candidate to go against President William Ruto. And Kenyans are watching. They are watching the language spoken, the actions taken, and the contradictions that play around in public again from the mouth of Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua's problem, as I told you, that President William Ruto has one big opponent and a half. The half was Rigathi Gachagua. And Rigathi Gachagua, I had not told you why it was a problem. I told you the 3 reasons why Uhuru finds Ruto a problem. Gachagua is simply revenge. Because Gachagua, when he was DP, he wanted to be a co-president, and the president was hearing none of it. So he started undermining the president from within. When parliamentarians, Kenyans and Ruto noticed it, they said, then we need to do away with him. And for that, he became very bitter. You remember at one point in time, countdown to his removal from office, he pleaded to be left alone to stay, and that nobody could hear none of it. So Rigathi Gachagua's problem is simply one thing: revenge. But in his revenge, he also wants to build for him a fiefdom like Raila Odinga. He's trying to win the Kikuyu onto his side. He wants to appear to be the one and only one fighting for the Kikuyu community against the enemy government of President William Ruto. And that, because of the level of illiteracy in the Kenyan populace, they buy it.
And it's working.
They buy it and it does work. But let me tell you one more thing. The population forgets very quickly. And also, let me tell you, the opposition has not started fighting. They will fight more than you think, very viciously. Because you must know, somebody, say for example, Rigathi Gachagua, is not going to be willing to let somebody come in who will take 10 years. And then when we will want to come in, he will be too old. When you look at somebody like Kalonzo Musyoka, if you do not give him that seat to be the flag bearer, he will hear none of it. Because you give somebody, say like Matiang'i, is going to take 10 years. Kalonzo will be too old to run for the presidency and will be too broke. The only time Kalonzo has a credible chance to run for presidency as the main candidate is now. But you see, Uhuru cannot work with Kalonzo. Uhuru is working with Matiang'i, and you should know the reason. The reason why Uhuru would rather work with Matiang'i, Uhuru is trying to put up an investment for his family, that one day, the person he puts in power today will take care of his children the same way Moi, whom Kenyatta one put in power, took care of Uhuru and brought him from almost nowhere to somewhere, and he became president thereafter.
Yeah.
So Uhuru is building the future of his family through Matiang'i. You cannot build the future of such a family first through a person from your own community, two, from a person who is older than you.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem why Uhuru will stick with Matiang'i.
Yeah.
But also no, those candidates who are there, Matiang'i, Kalonzo, Maraga, who is the other one, if any? None of those can wage a political battle against President William Ruto without Uhuru Kenyatta. They have no resources, they have no influence, and they have no votes in their background.
He's going to lose. It doesn't take some sort of special reasoning for somebody to know that William Ruto is not going to get the votes he got in 2022 from the Mount Kenya region for one reason or the other. From your assessment, we were looking at about, I'd say, 6 million votes in 2022, if I'm not wrong.
From where?
From the Mount Kenya region in totality. Was it 5 to about 6?
No. I think the actual votes cast was slightly over 4 million.
Over 4 million. So give or take around 4.5 million. So let's say he doesn't get this total amount of votes from that region that literally propelled him to the presidency. From your own estimation and based on the runs that he's been doing in the region, how many votes do you think William Ruto gets in 2027 from that
I
region?
think you are being academic with this thing and not taking time as a factor in this game.
We have to.
I have told you what you are seeing now will change drastically the moment the candidate is declared. Number two, remember there was a time that Raila Odinga vied in 2007. And Mount Kenya had their own candidate did not vote for him. And it is known to all and sundry, even the people who were born thereafter, that Raila Odinga actually won that race. So to come here to think that only the person supported by the Kikuyu vote will win,
it's an added advantage.
Is to get it all wrong.
It's of course, you don't necessarily need them to win, but
and let me tell you another thing which you also need to go home knowing. Most of the Kikuyu constituencies' votes were exaggerated to allow room for vote theft. When you go to Kiambu had more registered voters than scientific demography allows.
So basically, William Ruto and his camp manipulated votes in that region. That's what you're saying. I
don't want you to say William Ruto and his camp, because so you remember the registration in Kiambu was done. That thing was done during Uhuru 2017 and 2013. And come 2022, there were no large mass voter registration redone.
But it favored the president, right?
It could not favor him because those
How then did it not favor?
Said they were inflated to allow for vote theft. So unless Ruto stole the votes there, but the voting that just went there, only those who existed and as voter cards would vote for President William Ruto in 2022. And of course, they did it. But also remember, there is also a large number which voted for Raila Odinga, and Rigathi Gachagua claims they are about 1.5 million. There are only two things. They voted for Raila Odinga despite that the fact that Mount Kenya decided to vote for Ruto, or they were the ghost voters that we have been talking about. Whichever way it goes, President William Ruto will get votes from Mount Kenya. I don't think Ruto is hated in Mount Kenya more than Raila Odinga was hated there in 2022, but still got 1.5 million votes. Yes.
So that's your estimation, 1.5? I just need a figure.
He could get 1.5 or even more, because we are still 20 months from the elections. And I have told you things will change the moment you declare the candidate, so that we begin to unpack the candidate. We begin to remind you that Matiang'i disobeyed 12 court orders in one parliamentary term. When we begin to remind you this is a guy who had no respect for parliamentarians, we begin to unpack him and tell you this is the guy who woke up one morning and told us the police uniform will be blue. This is the guy who woke up one morning and told us school buses will be this color. So the moment we unpack him, the moment we told you which scandals he was involved in, you will know that he's no cleaner than the incumbent.
That has been going on, but it seems to be
appealing
to the masses. It's been going on. People have
Let me tell you,
the land cases and all that kind of stuff.
Let me tell you,
the police uniform case, all of that has been in the social media, but still he seems to be gaining prominence.
No. In fact, he's going down. In fact, I have not seen him in public for almost a month now. Let me just tell you one thing. When campaign begins, the enemy is one. And the enemy is marked. And right now, there is a level of beating you can beat an opponent because you don't know if you will need him when the nominations are over. We can only beat Kalonzo to an extent and Matiang'i to an extent and Maraga to an extent or whoever else wants those seats because we don't know if after the nominations we will need them on our side. So, bado tuna, we are just handling them with children gloves.
Okay. OWIDI, my final question before we wrap things up. 2027 is definitely going to be a very interesting election. Many believe the current sort of politicians holding their seats, about give or take 60% of them are going home. They're not going to retain their seats for one reason or the other. And not necessarily touching on the presidential ticket alone, just looking at all these other elective seats, do you think Kenyans, for the first time in a very long time in 2027, are going to vote based on ideology vis-a-vis the psychopathy that comes with general elections?
I have no good reason to believe that for the whole of Kenya. I only probably would think about it for the ODM strongholds. Because ODM strongholds is one area where people blatantly would confess their loyalty to Raila Odinga, praise him from start to end, and get elected, even when they are incapable of leading their own clan. And they got leadership. So what I'm saying, in the ODM areas, we have leaders who themselves are incapable of waging a political war, but were elected. Now that they are going to get the very competent leaders they kept out to preserve the fiefdom of Raila Odinga, it is going to be a battle royale.
Are you going for any seat?
So I can tell you for free, so many of those leaders are going to lose their seats. In any case, people love change. Campaigning on the platform of change is a beautiful thing because people think there's something new and better going to come.
So there's nothing new that is coming, but they think.
Yes.
Yourself, do you plan on going for any elective seat?
It's too early for me to plan anything because, first of all, right now, I am a proxy. My proxy candidate is William Ruto. That's my candidate for every seat. If he can return to the presidency, I'm good enough.
All righty. Well said. You've had the man himself, a man who's not shy of speaking his mind, even when it's going to cost him something precious in his very own life. ODOYO OWIDI, a governance analyst as well as a political analyst, just joining us on the Upfront podcast to share his insights on the ongoing political discourse. We'll leave it at that for today. I'm your host, Allan Owino. I'll see you on the next one. Do have a good one.